Hi, my name's Gerald Ratner. I'm the Chief Executive of Gerald Online, which is an online jewellery business. We are Britain's largest online jewellery business, selling lots of different products, diamond rings mainly. It's a bit ironic that I'm back in the jewellery business because in my previous life in the 80s I ran Ratner's Group, which was Britain's largest jewellery business, in fact the world's largest jewellery business. But I came unstuck in a rather disastrous way when I made a speech at the Albert Hall in 1991, and as a joke I described one of my products as total crap, a sherry decanter, but everybody thought I said it about all my products and my jewellery. It had a very negative effect on my life and my business. I lost my job, and it's taken me all these years to get back on my feet, but I have got back on my feet. Success is sweet a second time around, and I know that all of us in life and in business have setbacks, and all I can say is that if I can get back, then anybody else can.
That's great. I suppose, me being in school and you being very successful, what kind of advice would you give me if I wanted to get into retail?
Well, in my day, you didn't need any qualifications. You could just get a job working in the shop and work your way up. Now, people just, if you look at the CV and you've got no qualifications, they throw it in the bin. So I don't think it matters what qualifications you've got. It can be in anything. But as long as you've got qualifications, then people think that you're, rather rightly or wrongly, whether you're a worthwhile person. But then again, when you go for the interview, you've got to have a certain amount of personality. That's the most important thing. We're always selling ourselves. And I do think, and this goes a little bit against the norm, that you've got to start at the bottom, if you're in retail. And it's not particularly easy, but I would say it's quite enjoyable. And I certainly worked behind the counter when I was 15. I was a bit young nowadays, but perhaps if somebody's 18, they should work behind the counter, work in the shop, because there's no substitute from starting at the bottom. You have to make the coffee, do a bit of gophering around, errands and stuff like that. But that is the only way if you want to get to the top, is to actually start at the bottom, to learn the ropes, because you get these people often in the financial world who come in right to the top and they think they can just run a business, and they can't, because they don't actually understand the business from the grassroots. They can't look somebody in the eye and say, well, I've been there, I've done it. I know that somebody who ran a restaurant said to me that the sort of people that he wants is the person who put the rubbish out at 4 o'clock in the morning, because they've done that, and they get respect for that.
So it seems like, it's about life experiences and taking them with you. I suppose, if you don't mind me asking, what's your kind of background then?
I passed my 11 plus, and I went to grammar school, and I came 33rd out of 33 in the first term, and then I came 33 out of 33 in the second term, and then I came last again in the third term, and I was expelled for being stupid. I'm sure I must have had something wrong with me, like dyslexia or some Asperger's thing. I don't know. My wife always says I've got everything wrong with me, but I think that in those days they didn't bother if you just came last. They just said you were stupid. Nowadays they put a label on it, which is much better. So I really was not interested in school, but I was really interested in work. And I think that it's very important, whatever you do, that you enjoy it, that you really got enthusiasm for it. And if I had no enthusiasm for school, then there was no point in me continuing to do it. You can only be good at something if you really love it. And I love working in the shop. Yeah. For some reason or other, that's something I always wanted to do. So I think try and choose a vocation that you really want to do, whether it's the media or whether it's in retail or whether it's being a civil servant. It's just make up your mind that you're going to really want to do it and enjoy it, I think.
I think it's quite inspirational that you said that. You had this kind of big jewellery empire, and by making a mistake at the time, you were reduced to nothing, but you've managed to build that back up. Has that been a long struggle, or has it been down to your character? You seem quite determined and you wanted to get into it again. What kind of struggles have you had to face after that?
Well, for a while, you know, so much wanted to build the business up, and that was the most important thing to me, and I sacrificed a lot of things to do that, and it was anything that mattered, and I'm not saying that is a good thing, but I was single-minded and achieved that. But then after I lost it all, I really gave up for a long time. I didn't want to play anymore, and I felt that I couldn't achieve anything. And because I had so much bad publicity and people made jokes about me, I actually started beginning to believe my own publicity and felt that I cannot contribute anything. I'm a complete idiot. And I got my head straight by actually cycling, which I still do, and that's the one good thing that's come out of the speech, was I do cycle 30 miles a day, and whilst you're doing all that and you're climbing up hills, you're in so much pain, you haven't got time to think about all your other problems, and it was good. It got me sorted out. It got me realise there's more to life than just making money. And then my wife actually said to me that she threatened me with actually divorce. I don't know whether she'd have gone through with it, but she said that you can't just spend your whole time just sitting around. And I got this famous story as I was watching Countdown in bed one afternoon. I'd reached an all-time low, and she just said, "I'm going to throw you out." And so I did. I went out and I wrote to 20 companies, and I didn't get a job from any of them. So I started my own business, and which was a health club, which I knew nothing about a health club, but they happened to need a health club in a particular town where there wasn't one. Borrowed the money from credit cards because I didn't have any, and ended up selling it for £3.9 million 2 years later, which got me the money to go back into the jewellery business. So I did need a push, and sometimes you do need your friends or family to give you a kick up the backside, I think, and I'm grateful to her for doing that.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's been really informative.
Thanks very much for asking me. I enjoyed it.